Hello, and welcome to the fourth episode of Washed As, the podcast. Super excited to have you all here. Super excited to have a fine gentleman that just does amazing work in this world that we have, Mr. Kenston Henderson. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to
Good.
be here, man.
Man, listen, I have wanted to speak with you on this podcast show for a little while.
Yeah.
And life has definitely been lifing.
Life.
Travel and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, you all over the
I
place.
mean, but you're the man, so you've been traveling too. So we both are traveling.
We pass each other in the friendly
That's
skies.
it.
That's what it
That's
is.
it.
I'm honestly shocked we haven't seen each other at the airport within this time, waiting for it. But super excited to talk to you today, man. And yeah, really kick this thing off. So I want you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little about who Kenston is, what you do,
Yeah.
and then we'll dive into this thing.
So, man, my story just really goes Kenston Henderson. I call myself the preacher's kid, the pew baby. But basically, my mom and dad, they were preachers, teachers, pastors, and I just grew up around just tons of inspiration, motivation. And so that has helped shape who I am today. And I realized a couple things while growing up was that it was good to be the last sibling of seven, because it gave you a space in between couches when everybody would get a whooping. And so I made it, right. I made it through
Right.
all of those years, but learning from my siblings and mostly what not to do and what to do. I took those notes as well. But that's just helped shape who I am. Big family, a lot of laughter, a lot of love, and just that strong value for family. And
Yeah.
so, just growing up into going to college, and I went to school for it was called technical education and training.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to be some type of teacher. But not like my dad. Like my dad, he spoiled that part for me as
Okay.
his stories that he brought home every day, that let me know I was not supposed to be a teacher.
Not gonna be in that field.
But I knew I was supposed to equip people,
Yeah.
and that's where I fell into the corporate training aspect of training and development, or HR. And
Okay.
so that's kind of the path that I knew I was going to be on. And but other than that, man, just outside of that, musician, husband, father. You just those are things that's a part of me.
And
So
that's a lot, man.
that's a
That's a
lot. It's
lot of
enough, right?
listen.
I didn't even say the
I won't
rest.
say it's enough, but I'll say it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Okay, fair. No, man. I mean, that's phenomenal. I didn't realize you were one of seven, though.
Yeah, the
One of
last,
seven, the baby.
the baby.
Did they treat you like the baby though?
No,
Because I
I
know
wouldn't
your
say
brother.
so.
I know one of your brothers.
Yeah, so five sisters and me and my brother were at the end, and so
Oh, both of you at the end.
yeah, so it
I
worked
didn't
out
realize
well. But yeah, they
Lawrence,
never
if you're
ganged up
listening,
on
that
us.
means you next. I just
It's
want to let
good.
you know that.
Let's get them on here. Get them on here.
There
But
you go.
it was always fun, and like I said, a never dull moment.
Yeah.
So one bathroom, 7 children, 9 people in the house. So yeah, it was,
And outnumbered with the ladies.
Yeah.
Like completely outnumbered.
but we were good. We were good. Dad was around, so
Fair.
he didn't let them gang up on us.
That's
Not
cool.
that I remember.
Not that you remember.
It's foggy. I don't know.
There might be some memories we
There
need
might
to
be
jog.
some. We'll see. We'll see what happens
We'll
during
work,
this.
work that. Cool. So you have one son, right?
Yes, one son,
Okay.
Kenston Jr. He's brilliant, 16-year-old going on 17. So life is just going fast.
You running things yet, or what we
No,
doing?
he's not running things. He would like to think so. Now, I will admit, and this is, on the World Wide Web, that
Yeah.
he is, one, he's now taller than me. Two, he
Ooh.
is, he's better than me in basketball.
Whoa,
So
you just admitted that out loud?
I just admitted it. Like, if we go strong 2 minutes, I still now think he can beat me now. So I don't have it anymore.
Fair.
No more beating up on
No
him.
more beating up on him.
But this is good because it was a valuable lesson.
That's
now.
true. That's true.
So now he
That's
just
true.
outruns me and takes me to the hoop.
It takes you to he like, all right, just go ahead. Do your thing.
Just do what you do. I'm just passing the ball to him. Hey, shoot that shot.
Shoot
It's
that
good.
shot.
I'm an assist person now. I'm his assistant.
I'm his assistant. There you go.
So-
There you go.
But it's been wonderful to see him grow into many different stages of from, baby Tyler and so forth up to this young man stage. And so our conversations are turning to be different, which is beautiful because he's maturing. And as he matures, then we can go to those next level of conversations.
So I'm gonna dig on that a little bit, just a little bit, because you said how the conversations are changing, and me knowing that you really get out here with like Live with Life, right? Which is your organization, and we'll talk about that in a second. How does that go with being a father who has conversations with people about building their lives, making things, better for them, recognizing experiences, recognizing what they need, to then coming home and being a dad? Like, does he feel like you're coaching him all the time?
He
or
probably
how does
does. Listen, he probably does, but he knows it's coming from a good place. And I try to, again, customize our conversations differently so that way he can really see my heart when I'm talking to him about critical thinking.
Okay.
Because that's what I'll teach the corporate clients, but that's a lesson that is a valuable lesson that he needs to learn too, is to think through things before he takes action on them.
Absolutely.
Because there are consequences, whether good or bad, that happens as a result of our decision making. And so, but I think he gets it. He knows he has the leadership dad, and he's open to it now.
Yeah. How does he feel about just what you do? Like, is he inspired by it? Is it something that he wants to do? Is it like, how does that go?
He's at that cool teenage space where, parents are not cool. And I don't know when that will change. I hope it changes soon, because I think the gifts is in him to either do some of the things with me, but I think he thinks it's cool, right? To be able to speak and to travel and to meet different people and the different experiences. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
So, I mean, on that note, let's talk about it, man. Like, give me the rundown on Live with Life. Like, what's happening? What is it? How did you get started with this program? Like, talk to me a little bit.
Man, crazy enough where I was 13 years in my career, and like I said, I went to school for training and development, and I hadn't got a job in training and development for 13 years.
Wow.
And so I was in HR, and so I was doing HRIS, benefits, recruitment, journalist, but training and development.
Yeah.
And so I got in a space where I was like, man, am I going to ever get into this field where I know I'm supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
And I say where I know I'm supposed to be because, I every job that I had in between then, I always found myself in a volunteer role to do some type of training and development. And so where the one that really excited me was when I was working at OSU and we did a culture transformation in the workplace, Send Delaney group. And that training lit me on fire, and it let me know that this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so it was doing like 1-day retreats, 2-day retreats on, employee development, leadership development. And I was like, this is where I need to be. Okay, I really need to search it out. But then again, I was pigeonholed into a benefits area where the next job was doing benefits administration. But then soon enough, that turned into I knew how to train. So it's like, hey, you do the education sessions. And I was like, great. And it was in those education sessions, confirmation after confirmation, that this, people were coming to me, it's like, Kenston, how did you make benefits fun? Like, how did I learn how to do or learn how my benefits work? And I was just, I don't know. And that's, the gift is in you. And so I was like, okay, I really have to pursue this.
Yeah.
And, friends would tell me, you know what, Kenston, you're a motivator. You inspire people. You need to be somewhere else. And it's just like, okay, let me go. And so that's when I started looking up this guy named John Maxwell. My dad, since he was a pastor at that time, he would always refer to him in his preaching, his sermons. And I was like, well, let me go check this John Maxwell guy out.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there's a training or a certification program that he had. And I was like, perfect. Let me go check it out. And started to, learn more about business. Started to, got a mentor, coach, and really just started heading in that direction. And to the point, because I said, what I'm noticing in the training and development space is that there are some boring trainers that will put you right to sleep, There's no interaction. There's no engagement. They speak in one tone, monotone.
The
And
worst.
it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna gouge my eyes out. But I was just like, okay, what if I put together my background of inspiration, motivation, and HR? What would that combine to be? And I
Yeah.
was like, ooh, I think we have something here. And so I said, I want to be able to give people authentic experiences that are engaging, that are epic. And I use that now. I use the acronym EPIC as every presentation is customized
Okay.
because I want to give everyone I speak a customized experience. And so Live with Life was just created because one, I knew I wasn't supposed to be behind a computer screen. Two, because I wanted to give people great experiences, learning experiences, where they really retain the information and not just lose it the moment they walk out the door.
Right.
But it was also connected to purpose. Like I needed to be walking in purpose so I can do my part in making this world a little bit better before I leave.
Right.
And so, and that was a part of Live with Life. And so people notice the Y. They be like, is it spelled wrong? I'm like, no, it's not spelled wrong. It's LYFE.
Yep.
And the Y is intentional for purpose.
Yeah.
And so if I can help people find their purpose personally and professionally, and so when I go into organizations, I'm saying, let's go back to your mission statement. Why was it created?
Yep.
Why was your organization created? Okay, let's get back to the why. So that way everything we build from that is purposeful, it's intentional. So that we do good work. So
I love it.
That's a little bit about that.
Okay. The Y was intentional. You know, I always get that about my name because my name is spelled with a Y.
Yes.
And everybody's like, was that now an accident or no? It was an intentional. I'm going to use that going forward. It was intentional.
See? Now they know.
Now
they going to know.
They going to know. They going to know what it's about. No, I love that. I mean, you're making real life an adventure, right?
Yes.
You're making real life. And I've had the pleasure of sitting through a couple of your sessions, right?
Yeah.
And being able to really watch you do what you do. And candidly, right?
Yeah.
The session I sat through, you had a lot of corporate ladies, mostly in the HR field and world.
That's a few conferences.
And I mean, you had that room rocking, dude. Like like HR isn't supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like, here are the rules, right?
Yeah, it's the human aspect of it. I
true.
like bringing the human and human resources.
Yeah.
Like we are people. We do have personalities. We do like to have fun too.
Yeah.
Right. It's just the roles that we play. We got to be a little bit more milder tone and to the book.
You know, HR is always one of those interesting ones for me.
It's not for everybody.
Something. Listen, I'm always saying something. But can we talk about what you? Fair. So I want to give it a little shout out of congratulations because I saw this recently that you were nominated as Influencer of the Year for Kingdom Arts, right? Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Listen,
like that's amazing.
I was shocked. I was shocked by it too because here's the thing: when I haven't been big on social media recently until recently, probably the last 4 years. And with the creation of my business, it was like, okay, how can I impact more? How can I make my reach go further?
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you that no matter who's watching, know that somebody's watching.
Yeah.
And I'm always saying, whenever I speak, whenever I train, it's for the audience of one. I just want one person to get what I'm putting out.
I feel that.
And so social media is just a huge place where you can touch at least one. Like if you can't touch one, then what are you doing out there on social media?
That's
but
fair.
My purpose, it flowed onto social media. And so again, I'm doing intentional things to again make this world a little bit more positive, a little bit more better for someone to see that there is life beyond whatever it is. And so, one of my things or one of the spaces of my life I went through was, unfortunately divorce. And I was still posting intentionally out there because I want people to fight through and know that there's life after divorce.
Yeah.
There's life after getting fired from a job. There's life after whatever it is.
Yeah.
But to really impact. So, getting nominated for that that great award was nice. It
Yeah.
was nice. Like I don't expect things. I don't, because some people they like to pay
Oh.
to get awards and things. But I just figure my work will speak for me, and that's how I want it to be.
Yeah, that's how it should be,
That's
right?
how it should be.
Absolutely.
And so to be recognized for that is beautiful to know that my words are life.
Yeah. No, I respect that. I really love really what you just said. Like there's life after. There's so many
Yeah.
challenges that people deal with and go through, and specifically in the world of fatherhood,
Yeah.
right? When we
Yeah.
talk about being a dad,
Yes.
there's a lot of challenges that we deal with on a daily basis. There's a lot of people that we're trying to maneuver, situations we're trying to go through, something like a divorce, man.
Yeah.
That I mean, I can only imagine how trying to work through that with your son, right, and work through that
Yes.
process
Yeah.
really goes. And I know
Yeah.
this is a little off script. Feel free to
Let's
say
go.
like, nah, I don't want to go there,
Nah,
Brandon.
nah, we
But
gonna go. Let's
like,
go.
what does it look like as a dad, right? Like, because there's going to be a dad that watches this that's
Absolutely.
in the heat of either thinking about divorce, going through divorce, just got
Yeah.
through it. What does that process look like for you as a
Yeah.
father and helping your son see life after?
Listen. I mean, it just looks like going through it, but as quick as you can understand that you're not just living for yourself anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It helps that motivation, that inspiration for you to get to the place where, you know what, I need to take care of my children or my son. And in my case, my son, where it was like, look, Kenston, get yourself together.
Right.
Talking to myself because someone is going to be watching you because
Mm-hmm.
you're a leader. Someone's going to be watching how you go through this. But here's the thing, I want it to be well. Like I wanted to be healthy mentally,
Right.
emotionally, so that way I can be the best father for my son.
Right.
And it was in those moments where I was like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna, hey, get with my brother, my best friend, get with a counselor, get with a coach, and I start surrounding myself with my support system,
Yeah.
tapping into them, and then I was able to again be the best father in the world to my son.
Yeah.
That was always the goal from the moment he was born, is to be the best father in the world to him. And so that looked like me and him going to there was an organization called Divorce Care, and it was through a local church in Columbus, and we went for 13 weeks straight to
Wow.
classes. I took him with me. He had his own classes for youth. And he got his learning and things, and I got my learning. And then we would talk about things after those sessions. And that really helped our relationship grow and to help him, really process what was taking place.
Yeah.
And so, and I always tell people, if you're doing life alone, you're doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
And I always say that for anything. So if you're doing divorce alone, you're doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
And what that looked like was me tapping his teachers, tapping his after school programs, letting them know this is taking place.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out on him. He don't need special attention. Just keep an eye out on him,
Yeah.
just to make sure he's processing and he's doing things well in school. And that meant the world to me and him.
Yeah.
So
Man, now that's powerful. A lot of times, I mean, we as men, we go through a lot of situations where we'd rather keep it private, right? Like we'd
absolutely.
rather keep it closed off. We'd rather be like, nah, man, I'm going through something, even with our
Yeah.
best friends, even with
Yeah.
our brothers, even like the people that are closest to us. And it can get to the point, unfortunately,
Yeah.
where you're overwhelmed,
Yeah.
where you might even consider taking a path that we know most people don't want to take,
Yeah.
right? Whether that be a couple of different things, but knowing to open up and
Yeah.
really allow a community to be there with you,
Yeah.
that's huge, man. Like
Yeah.
that's a big step, something that a lot of people don't take.
That's a part of the process. Now, that immediately happened, right? That
Right.
was getting over my pride, my ego of saying, I got this. I'm a worship leader. I'm the pastor's son. I can deal with this. I'm
Mhm.
a strong man. But then it broke me.
Yeah.
And it was in when I allowed it to break me further, and when I really leaned on my belief
Hmm.
and was like, God, I can't do this by myself. And then that's when I was able to get a real clear picture on the next steps.
Yeah.
And that's when I took the reach out, like, okay, I can't do this alone. So, hey, call my brother, call my people. But I got clarity from
Hmm.
that, right? People to hold me accountable on my journey, my
Yeah.
healing journey process.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Don't try to do it alone.
Don't let that ego get in the way.
Don't let it. Don't let it. It keep you trapped, keep you down, keep you bitter. And no, we don't got time for that.
Yeah, fair. Especially when you got little eyes looking at
And
you.
you got little eyes that's counting on you.
Just counting on you. And they don't have time, per se, for you to really be off in the corner trying to figure it out by yourself specifically. But
here's the thing. They know what's going on, depending on what the age is. They may know what's going on. They may be at awareness. He was 7, but he seen and he knew, he felt, right? Because it was that conversation before anything took place. He's like, Dad, why do y'all argue so much? Right. So they know something's going on, but then when it breaks, and that's a whole nother level of things. And but he was a champ. He was a trooper walking through it. But did he see me in vulnerable times? He did. Right. But then we would talk about it.
Yeah. Having a conversation.
Man,
that's key. People don't, in general, like to have conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, even in your work and what you do, you're teaching people how to have conversations.
Absolutely.
You're teaching people the human element of being human, right? In a corporate setting, but like working through that. And I can only imagine how that translates back to being a father and working through that process. So today, though, happily family, the family business, as we talked about earlier.
Let's go.
And your wife does phenomenal work out there, like just holding it down. How's work?
Listen.
This is a different element because see, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think my wife and I could work together. She says like, oh babe, I want to work from home when I work from home. She's like, I'm gonna work from home next week. It's okay if you don't though. No, I love you, honey. You know that we all out there. Today's her birthday of all days, so I'm just gonna say we love you.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate that. But that being said, like I think about one thing of working with your spouse in really building out the family and building out that legacy, building out everything that you have going on. How does that work today? Like, how do you feel about being a dad, a husband, and working with your wife and building what you guys have?
Like it's beautiful, and I say it's listen, not all skipping through the tulips. I won't say that, but there's more amazing times than less amazing times. Awesome. And COVID. Thank you, COVID, because it happened. The first year of our marriage, within the first year of our marriage.
Oh, wow.
And so we went from, she went off to her job, went off to my job, and then we met at home to we in a home by, with each other, looking at each other in the face, like, what you doing? What's going on? And, and even my son too, it was a blessing in disguise where we got to get closer.
It's true.
And we got to learn about each other way faster than the normal couple did.
Yeah.
And we quickly found out that we did actually love each other. So that was a great thing, right? We didn't end in, tragedy there. But it was a beautiful experience. And we would find ourselves working together in different aspects of the business then, but which got us to today where, she finally came on full time the beginning of this year, which is beautiful. Now we're both just trying to figure out each other's strengths, and we found those out, but it's like, okay, how does both of us contribute to the business without it causing too much ruckus?
No, that makes sense.
We both speak, we both train, and so all we want to do is speak and train. But as you know, as if you were a business owner, it don't work just like that. We don't just like, there's sales, there's marketing, there's advertising,
all
there's
pieces to it,
everything, right? And so, but we're figuring out. So now she's the chief operations officer.
Okay.
So she is, doing the systems and getting those things together.
Okay.
And I'm doing the board of sales and the marketing, advertising, the influencer stuff,
right.
But it's been beautiful because now we have the flexibility to be able to be there for all of our son's activities, right?
Nice.
And so and then being able to take him on different trips to expose him to different things that we weren't exposed to as children and or young people. And that just makes it just so fun.
That's awesome.
So fun.
That's awesome. No, I mean that's a family unit, man, and you really get to navigate this thing called life together, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets that same opportunity. So I'm a little envious of that, man.
No,
Like
man.
that's pretty
Come
cool.
on, you could
That's
try
pretty
it. You
cool.
could try
Listen, we talked about that before.
it.
I don't know if anybody wants me up on stage anymore talking about motivation. So
Stop.
we gotta do what we
Stop.
can do. But let's talk through that for a second. What advice would you give to a dad that really maybe wants to get out there, right? And wants to take part in the process of entrepreneurship, build, they got challenges going on. Their family is growing, their family is doing, they're trying to make sure they're all held together. And they want to build this business, this legacy, this all
Yeah.
specific to your space. You travel
Yeah.
everywhere, right? Like, what's the advice that you give a dad that's thinking about that process, or maybe is in the beginning of it?
Yeah, I mean, there in the beginning is really just strategizing, planning it out, be intentional.
Okay.
Because it this didn't happen overnight, bro. This is me 20 years in HR, building those relationships, building my um just my resume.
Yeah.
And to be able to cultivate those relationships is key. But so start leveraging relationships.
Okay.
Start putting yourself out there. If you're trying to be a speaker or facilitator, you got to start putting yourself out there. I wouldn't say take every engagement, but find out who your target audience is,
Hmm.
then see where they hang out at, and then pitch your talk. Say, hey, would you mind me speaking for a half hour, a lunch and learn, something that will get you out there, get you starting to get comfortable with speaking, and then but also, I would say find a coach too, somebody who's been there, or a mentor, somebody who's been there, done that, can show you the way.
Yeah.
So you can actually break through barriers that have already been broken. Right. I'm always in a space of, when I go to speak in places like Kalispell, Montana, or Whitefish, Montana, I'm blazing a space where not a lot of us are there. And so, um, but they can now go different places
Yeah.
because it's there. So get a
Yeah.
coach, get a mentor, but really be intentional. Ask somebody, because they can give you advice on, the coach or the mentor give you advice on what programs you should be a part of, what organization you should be a part of, so that you're not wasting a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to follow my same path, because I can get you there much faster.
Hmm. So you mean you got to
If you
listen to
want to
somebody
go,
else?
yeah, and then that's a part of it. Can
Yeah.
you listen? Are
Yeah.
you teachable?
Mhm.
Right now, I am working with someone. I won't name names, but I'm just making sure I'm giving you this free game.
Right.
You got to put in action,
Right.
because information without activation is pretty pointless.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I won't look dumb. I just know that you know I won't pour in anymore.
That's it.
So
That's it. No, I see you on that and hear that. Like, there's so many opportunities out there where you're trying to build, you're trying to, grow the community. And I'm gonna take it to that step, that
yeah,
next step,
absolutely.
which is, as Black males
Yeah,
in a world where we already have a lot of things going against us,
yeah,
right? Naturally,
absolutely,
the day you stepped in, there's a lot of things that are going
absolutely.
against you. You specifically are in a field that is dominated
Hmm.
by everybody but who looks like you.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, and now
absolutely.
I think that was one of the most amazing things to watch you
Yeah.
get up and do what you do. And I'm like, this room don't look nothing like him, but
Hmm.
instead you're still out there doing it.
Yeah.
But for somebody that looks like you, it wants to get to that space. You got to be willing to listen. You got to
Yeah.
be willing to take in. You got to be willing to take on a mentor and
Yeah.
put that ego aside, right? Like,
Got to.
how do you?
You can't.
You can't get there without it.
You can't get there with an ego
Yeah.
or pride, because it'll be your best teacher if you allow it to be. But it will cause you to stay stagnant, cause you to fall backwards, and never move forward. And
Yeah.
so the quicker you can stay humble, and
Hmm.
I live by humbly great, but it's
Humbly great.
humbly great.
Okay. Okay.
So again, it keeps you humble,
Yeah.
but you know that you know your skill set, you know your abilities, and it's being confident in that, but not cocky. So but really just stay humble and learning, be a sponge, ask questions, be eager to learn, not eager to do,
Hmm.
eager to learn, and let it just let it just flow from there,
Yeah.
so to speak. But I just always recommend people yeah. I don't know. Humble is my word. Is humility.
Yeah,
Humility is everything.
absolutely.
Like you can know you're good at something, but still stay humble
Yeah,
because pride will make you fall.
that's for sure. I mean, I remember when I first met you, we were at a conference
Yeah,
and you were kind of getting ready, getting some things, talking. I think you were even like helping out with
I was
like
helping.
build
I was
up, right?
saying,
Like
yeah,
you're helping out the organizer that I would have never guessed at that time you do what you do
yeah,
and are as popular and clearly nominated, right?
see,
Like as you are, like you're a phenomenal person. And I remember meeting you, talking to you, and then, we always naturally make assumptions of what we think we know, but
yeah,
then you go like, wow, now this brother is doing what he's supposed to be doing. Like
yeah,
he's walking in his purpose, walking his calling. And a lot of people are seeing it and recognizing that. But you were, man, you're so
yeah.
humble about it, about everything that you do.
It's good.
And that's amazing because you are so successful at what you do.
Yeah,
And I think
appreciate
a
that.
lot of people miss that point. They want to be recognized, they want to
Mm-hmm.
be seen, but not really truly humbly working and walking through it.
Yeah,
You said something a little earlier about if I can just reach that one person.
yeah,
And I think to me, that speaks to that humility, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm not sure. There might be 20,000 people that I've
yeah,
talked to, but I'm really focused on can I get that one,
yeah,
right? Can I get that one person to just make an adjustment, make a switch, make a change,
yeah,
and I'll be content. I'll be happy.
yeah.
And that's pretty awesome. In that vein, what's one thing that you want Kenston Jr. to walk away with, right? Like, what is something that if he looks at your life, they go to put that dash in there, right?
Mm,
And your picture's on the paper. What's the thing that he's supposed to take away? The one thing.
mm. I mean, I guess it has to go with, man, what I live for, what I live by is living in purpose. And so, it would be the sun, find your purpose. Find what you were put on this earth to do and then go after it. Like with all your might. Like with all your strength. Like, quoting scriptures now.
Yeah.
But go after it, right? And I think he'll find his, you know, soon enough he'll find his true north, so to speak. But that thing that he's been put on this earth to do. And so purpose. And that'll keep him out of trouble
Yeah. Fair.
and keep him making money too.
Keep you making money too. Because dad gonna need you to take care of him later on.
Listen,
He ain't gonna be
you
out
better
here
get
running all
ready.
the time.
You better go speak. No, they called you.
They called
They
you.
called you. No, but that's what I want to live is that legacy of just helping people find purpose.
Yeah.
You find it, go help people.
Yeah. Who is somebody that helped you to find your purpose? Who was your father figure, your hero, if you will? Like who was the person for you?
I think it was my father.
Okay.
Early on, like I tell people, that's where I learned quickly what servant leadership is. And because, in between him and my mom, they were the ones that drug us out of bed on Saturday mornings. Um, before Dukes of Hazzard, before WWF came on, and we would go be serving in the community, whether it's clothing drives, food drives, singing in nursing homes, and so that just shaped my level of servant leadership, where that I loved, and that has shaped me even up to this day, where I'll be serving in different capacities in the community, or in church ministry, because I love to equip people. I love to help people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's been the biggest influence. He was my hero, so to speak,
Yeah.
and because he was strong, mentally, physically, and it was good. It was
Awesome.
good.
Did you ever beat him in basketball?
Um, nah, because that was his sport. That was my dad's sport. But I beat him in ping pong,
Oh,
and because he was nice on the ping pong table, and,
okay.
and so growing up,
Yeah,
he would, he taught us and challenged us, and I started beating him, and then, he didn't want to play no more, but I was like Forrest Gump. I was like a mini Forrest Gump down there. Had the table set up against the wall. And I was
yeah.
hitting it.
Here we go.
But yeah. So that was it. Yeah.
Man, and now your turn has been dealt with
with
Kenston
the
Jr.
basketball. Isn't that crazy how that happens?
That is.
But
Do
I
you
think
still want
that's
to
where I got
play?
it from.
You
Because
still
my
want to
dad used to
play?
whoop me.
Oh, he used to whoop you
He
bad.
used to whoop me bad in ping pong.
No,
No
like
mercy.
giving in.
No mercy.
Mm.
And so until I learned and picked it up, and then rest is history. Now I'm dad. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. There you go. There you go. There you go. That's awesome. Well, last couple of little thoughts and points that I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What do you think in today's world fathers are missing, right? Like if you really sat down and you thought, hey, as I look over the things that you're involved in, the spaces that you're in, and the world that you get to see, right? What are we missing today? Like, what are some things that you say, hey, if we could focus in on this as dads, we would be in a better spot?
Yeah. So in my book, Parenting Like a Boss, I wrote a specific chapter for fathers, or for fathers. And in it was the greatest gift that you can give to your children, your sons, your daughters, is the gift of being uh, mentally, physically, and emotionally present.
Mm.
Mentally, physically, emotionally present, active in their lives. Like not just even when it's not even your turn, if you're doing shared parenting, parenting, you're still active.
Yeah.
Like even my son to this day, there's shared parenting, and I still make sure I send a text. I still make sure I give a phone call. I still make sure I'm still active every day of the week.
Yeah.
Because he needs to feel my presence. And for men who's watching this, your children need to feel your presence. They need to feel they need to hear that you care, but they need to see that you care. That you truly value them.
Yeah.
Right? Despite any drama with the mama.
Yeah.
You still need to get active in their lives. Be creative. Don't limit yourself, but find different ways. And I know people will say, well, you don't know, my story is different than yours. There's no shared parenting, whatever. Be creative. Chat GPT, something creative. It'll come up with something. I'm just throw that out there. There's no excuses anymore. I'm just saying, there's no excuses anymore. You have resources and tools. How to be a creative parent when I do not have rights or something. It'll pull up something, I guarantee you. But, but yeah, just be active, be engaged. That's the main thing. And that's for fathers, but all parents too. Because I know but that's enough I'm gonna say about that.
Fair. Go get this man's book, and then you'll know the rest of it.
Get the book.
Speaking of, I want to give you a second to tell the people where they can find out more about everything you do. So Live with Life, your book, everything. Like, where can they get to know Kenston Henderson?
Oh yeah. So definitely follow on all the different platforms, but on my website, Live with Life, LIVEWITHLYFE.com. And at the top or at the bottom, both will have all my handles, social media handles. But there under the shop, you'll find my book, Parenting Like a Boss, Winning Conversations. My wife's book called The Couch, Where Life Happens.
Shout out.
It's for the women, for the women. But yeah, and then for the organizations that are looking for any type of development work, that's where you'll find those information.
Awesome. Listen, man, I'm glad we were able to actually do this, have this conversation. Appreciate you taking the time to come out. We're going to have you back on.
Listen,
because I already know there's a couple things we got to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
But man, I've been inspired by you since the day I met you, and I've appreciated just being able to track and watch your journey. And I'm looking forward to the next steps, because I already know there's other projects that you have. I'm not going to talk about them right now. We'll leave them until you announce them. But I'm just waiting, because
a few things.
I know I was involved in one of them for a short period of time. I'm waiting on you to go ahead and knock it out, because I'm excited about that one. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, there's a few things, but we're gonna wait till to be continued.
Follow this man. That's all I'm gonna say. Follow this man so you can be a part of the journey. But truly, I appreciate all of you being here, listening, and going through this situation. Again, Watch Dad's podcast. We're really here to set up and make sure you have a place for a conversation. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. We're going through this thing together. Every time we bring someone on, it's about having a conversation and really talking through the different realities of what life looks like. And so I appreciate you listening in. I appreciate you being a part of it. And until next time, keep doing what you need to do as a father. We appreciate you and we love you.